Okay, so we're going to look at the different styles of push kicks, okay? There's all different kinds of push kicks for all different reasons in different styles of sport. So in Thai boxing, to say, you're going to get a push kick and a thing called a teep. Traditionally, a teep or a push kick is to look for distance. A push kick or a teep can still be damaging, but the overall purpose of it is to create space and create distance. If my opponent's walking towards me here, I'm going to be using a bigger surface area of my foot, and I'm going to be looking to push them away. Again, this comes with different styles, okay, different stances, but overall, the objective of this kick is, as someone's coming in, is to create space again. So I'm looking to push them away and regain space, or look to push them away and pressure them and move forward with this. Like I say, it can still be an attack, and it can also be used to off-balance somebody. So if your opponent's looking to kick you, you'd be looking for good timing to off-balance them and maybe push them off their stance, all right? Again, the main purpose of a push kick or a teep is going to be distance or off-balancing, okay? And it can go to the stomach or to the chest. The chest predominantly is more to off-balance somebody. The push kick to the stomach can create a bit more space, all right? Unless you're really good at off-balancing them, then you will get space naturally. If they're going to kick and you catch the chest, you will off-balance and create space, all right? Now, the push kick and the teep normally is going to come from a solid bottom leg, all right? So this foot is going to be flat because this is going to give me a solid foundation to be able to move my hips from. If I come too high onto the ball of my foot and say I'm in this position and I miss the shot, I'll be off balance. And again, the surface area is a lot lower, so there's not too much for me to be able to push from. With a solid foundation and a solid flat foot underneath me, it's real easy for me to throw the push kick and return to my stance. I can still engage my hips and come back to my position, all right? So this is the push kick and the teep. Your opponent's coming forward, I push and I create distance, yeah? So I'm looking to push them away, almost like you're kicking a door down. So you're coming up to the door, yeah? I elevate from the knee here to give myself height, and then I kick the door through, okay? And it can be both legs. So I can use my lead leg here to elevate and I push out into this position, and I can use my rear leg, again, for distance, all right? So both legs can be an option when I'm looking to push kick or teep. Opponent comes forward, I use my right side, use my left side, boom. But it's all distance control, yeah? So the other option, what we're gonna look at, is a geri, which is more of a karate style kick, all right? Now this is not for distance, okay? This is more of a stab towards the stomach, and it's more intended to inflict damage as opposed to create space, all right? When we're doing this kick, we're not looking to hit with the whole of the foot, we're looking to hit with the ball of the foot. So initially, you're gonna retract the toes backwards so you can hit with the ball of your foot and stab with this. Ordinarily, you're gonna be using your rear leg in this shot, all right? It's not very often that you're gonna use the lead leg for this stab. Some people do at a higher level, but ordinarily it's gonna be a rear leg attack, okay? So again, I'm gonna look to retract my toes as I'm kicking to highlight the ball of my foot, and then I'm gonna use that to stab into the stomach, all right? And again, when I'm push kicking or teeping, I'm fully engaging all of my hip. So if Ruben's in his stance, when I'm here, when I'm push kicking, I would hit and I would extend and kick through. I'm not looking to extend through, I'm more looking to use the hinge joint of the knee to snap, okay? So here, I'm looking to snap the kick in, and you see my opponent won't move away too much in comparison to a big push kick, yeah? They will more fold in this position, okay? So it's a super powerful technique. And again, it takes a bit of time to get good with the accuracy and the placement. You may start catching elbows and things like that when you're throwing it, so it does take a lot of time to be able to get used to throwing this shot at different angles. But as long as you're attracting the toes, yeah, and you're snapping the kick, that's where it's gonna be effective, okay? So it's less up and push with a hip and more knee flexion. It's like a fast stab, yeah? So as I'm here, we're moving and I stab the shot there, okay? Again, rear side, as I'm moving here, I'm just looking to fastly stab the shot, yeah? So I'm here and I just stab the position. The difference between this and the push kick, all right? One more thing, the push kick and the teep ordinarily comes from the knee elevating first. So the knee will rise and then we will push through and engage the hip. Same on the lead leg. The knee rises and then I engage my hip and I push through. When I'm going for the snap, I'm not rising at the knee. I'm literally just bringing my foot to the target and snapping at that knee joint there. Okay, so there's a little less tell, a little less elevation in the knee, but I'm here and I just snap the shot, okay? It's very straight, yeah? So I'm in this position here, I come straight into this position, and then I extend and snap the foot here for the most damage, yeah? If I was to do this with a push kick, then it'd be hard for me to engage the hip as much, okay? The more that I elevate my knee here, the more chambered I am, the more I can engage my hip and I can get more distance in that shot. With the Maya Geri, we just want the leg coming up and then the snap here, yeah? So it's kind of like an effortless shot that I'm just coming through and I snap into the stomach, okay? Okay, so the way that I throw this kick is gonna change dependent on my opponent's stance, okay? So if my opponent is in a southpaw stance, this is something called an open stance, all right? Which basically means my rear side is going to be a lot more effective because of the position of my opponent's body. You see that he's turned so his body is open towards me. So if I'm throwing this front snap kick or this Maya Geri through the middle, it's very easy to land because his body is almost perfectly square towards this shot. So it's super effective from this position to just come straight up into the stomach and stab into this position here, yeah? So it's very easy for me to just control distance here and snap the kick in a straight line, all right? Now, if my opponent's in an orthodox stance, you see from this position now, where he stood, if we switch sides, so you can see on the camera, here you see his body is almost deflecting this shot. So if I throw it here in a straight line, there's a high possibility that it can slip off the body, especially if you're competing and you're sweaty. The foot can just slip off and you can miss. This can leave you in a bit of a vulnerable position. So what I like to do when I'm fighting people in orthodox to be able to get the snap kick is I like to invert the foot and come in, okay? So from this position, I will turn my foot in, I'll invert the heel a little bit, and then I will get the snap from this position, okay? So I'll invert the heel and then I'll snap in from there. So my position to snap from here is this as opposed to straight forward, all right? And you can still generate power. It's not as powerful as it coming straight up from the knee line, okay? Because there is an inversion, yeah? But it's still very effective, all right? So as I'm here, I will turn in and I'll snap in this position here, yeah? So as I'm here, I turn it in and snap. So the invert allows the position to be square. So now my foot is square to my opponent so it can land flush, yeah? All right, so again, if I'm throwing it straight from here, it can slip off. If I invert the heel, the line is now square to my opponent and I can land it clean to the stomach, all right? Some ways that I like to set this up is I like to be able to kick the leg, yeah? I like to get them to respect this leg kick, and then I'll come up, invert, boom, and go. Because again, the common ways for them to respond to this leg kick is, as you saw then, either them to retract their leg, which squares them up again. So if they retract their leg, they're even more square for the shot, which makes it more effective. If they check, they're square again, makes it more effective, yeah? So however they're looking to defend this low kick is predominantly gonna put them in a more susceptible position for this snap kick to create damage, you know? So that's one way that I like to set it up, is I like to be moving around, I like to damage the leg, and then once they respect that, I'll invert, and then I'll snap, all right?